Hello everyone! So today we're off for a gorgeous walk, and some of the best adventures that I have aren't the ones that I plan meticulously, but ones I discover simply by looking on the OS map and making a bit of a loop and seeing where I'll end up. So today my journey starts right here at the beautiful St John the Baptist Church in Grafton Flyford, and I'm doing what I love most, creating that walking loop, soaking in the wide open spaces, walking through those fields with absolutely gorgeous buttercups. So come along with me, because today on the loop we're going to stumble across some incredible history, a few stunning manor houses, one of which played a role in unmistakably one of England's most notorious segments of history. And while plotting my route on the map, I spotted a property called Hill Court, and you're going to see it now. Wowzer. The name sounded intriguing, so I took the footpath up the hill to it, and what a house. So this is Hill Court. It's Grade 2 listed and dates back to the late 16th century. What you can't quite see is from the front, it's actually built in an L shape, originally known as Hilltop Farm. This stunning estate features that 16th century main house, there's a gazebo and an old dovecot and that barn you see to the right hand side. But look, if I turn 180 degrees, this is the view. And imagine looking out of those top windows of the house. I would be sitting in front of those windows forever just watching the world go by. And historically this land was held under the powerful Beauchamp family, and it's such a gorgeous area of the world. Leaving Hill Court behind, I ambled along fields and a single-track road towards Huddington, and eventually I hit the outskirts of the village. It's a beautiful, sleepy, quiet corner of Worcestershire, tucked away in the valley of Bow Brook. And down here I passed an old corn mill, and if you look closely you can see the traces of the historic mill pond and the old sluices, and then there's the actual mill to the side of it. Huddington is a really tiny village, and it always has been that way. It had a population of only 10 in 1428, which compared to its peak of a staggering 125 people in 1821 is quite a difference. Now there are far fewer people here, and the oldest house in the village is this crook constructed cottage, and it's old. It's from the 14th century. I then walked down the driveway to Huddington Court, and no, I'm not trespassing. The wonderful thing about England is its network of footpaths, and they can take you to some epic places. Quite often a footpath will cross someone's garden or go in front of a large manor, so you've got some really magical experiences, and we're really lucky to be able to tread these paths across our country. A little way down the path I was greeted by these beautiful gates and the view of Huddington Court. Looking through the gates, my heart told me to go and check out the old church. However, the only way to get there meant veering off the footpath and across the private lawn. So naturally I channeled my kind of inner Scooby-Doo gang and tiptoed over to the lich gate like we're about to solve a mystery. The latch clicked open and I was in front of the church. So luckily the church was unlocked as well, and I stepped inside. And this is St James's Church. Its roots go all the way back to the 12th century, but this place almost didn't survive. By the late 19th century, St James's was literally on the verge of collapse, and it wasn't until 1900 that it was saved and restored, taking on this gorgeous arts and crafts style thanks to the architect James Ford Whitcomb. I found the old visitor's book, and clearly not many people come here because the book was started in 1975 and it was still going. And looking around, I found an old chest from the late medieval period, it's gorgeous stained glass, and a plaque from a rather famous person's grandson. You'll find out who the famous person was in a moment. I then made my way towards the door of this quiet church, and what's crazy is that Huddington feels completely, strangely remote, even though it's only 16 miles from the centre of the city of Worcester. And I didn't see a single soul around the court or the church, which only adds to the eerie, mysterious vibe. The driveway I came down is also no ordinary driveway. It's got one of those folklore stories to it. So the avenue of trees is locally known as Lady Winter's Walk, and it holds a bit of a secret. And I'll take you back first to a bit more about the court so you understand the flow of that secret. So Huddington Court was actually described by historian Sir Nicolaus Pevsner. He described the 15th century moated manor as the most picturesque house in Worcestershire, and I can see why. And beneath this beauty actually lies a notorious history, one that we are quite familiar with, but I didn't realise came from this house. And that this was the house of the Winter family. And if that name sounds familiar, it's because Robert, Thomas and John Winter were central conspirators in the infamous Gunpowder plot of 1605 to blow up Parliament and King James I. And actually, parts of the plot were conceived right here inside this house. So, local legend says, after the aftermath of the plot, one of the Winters didn't dare appear by day, so he would meet his wife here along that tree-lined avenue, and ultimately he was executed in 1606. But the locals say that his widow, Gertrude, still walks that driveway, so that's why it's known as Lady Winter's Walk. And she walks it at night, of course. It's giving me the shivers. And this is what I love about England. I mean, I grew up in this county. I know so much of its history, but I go for a random walk and I discover something about the Gunpowder plot, one of its biggest parts of history started here. And that really amazes me. I then worked my way back to the car, going over the fields towards Grafton Flyford, and I just really enjoyed the walk. I loved it. And it was one of the first warmer days of the summer, and it was brilliant to be out, but I did have to put my jumper on towards the end. And yeah, if you enjoyed this little brief tour of Worcestershire, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more walkies, and let me know in the comments, would you walk down Lady Winter's Walk at night? I don't think I would. Until next time, happy walkies.